Rockets, I thought they had it on Saturday night. They took it to overtime, down 31 versus the Golden State Warriors. Without Klay Thompson, still looks weird. But they found a way to rally to help us assess where the Rockets are. Back in action tonight are the Rockets. Some weird-ass start time. 7:45 at the Toyota Center tonight. I don't know what the 7:45 local time is. Nonetheless, here the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, who they have now. They've got Karl Anthony Towns. Of course, the Rockets led by Jalen Green to assist us with previewing not only tonight's matchup, but recapping what we may have missed over the weekend. Ben DuBose, Rockets analyst for us here at 790, editor of USA Today's Rockets Wire, and a contributor to the Logger Line podcast here on sports790.com. Ben, good morning to you. Hope you're well rested, brother. Headed over to a 7:45 tip. Knicks in town. Let's start there. Oh, you know what? Let's not start there. I'll come back to that. Over the weekend, I mentioned the Golden State down 31. How'd they get back into it? Career night for Tari.
Yeah, Tari Eason was a big story. His energy just almost single-handedly got the Rockets back in that game in the second half, especially when you pair him with Amen Thompson. That duo gets some turnovers that you wouldn't believe. At times it looked like a high school game, the way they would just press the Warriors at half court, and it felt like one turnover would turn into two turned into three, and that thing snowballed. Unfortunately, the reason why you don't see too many 30-plus point comebacks, what often happens is that even if you do climb the mountain and get all the way back, you use up so much energy in doing so that at some point you run out of gas, and that's what happened in overtime. They used so much energy to come back from down 31 that by the time they sort of caught their breath, that 3.5 minute break between the fourth quarter and overtime, they just never looked right in OT. They shot just 1 of 12, and it felt like they had to use up all their legs to get back in the game. So kudos to Tari Eason and Amen Thompson. Both played fabulous off the bench, got the Rockets back in it. But, yeah, you can't start down 30 against a good team and expect to win the game.
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, we've become conditioned to know the Golden State Warriors. Oh, if they don't have Steph and they don't have Clay and they don't have this guy, they're not any good. And it's like Steve Kerr's a pretty damn good coach. They just, I don't know, they just win. It sucks. Like Buddy Hield just goes there and just starts scoring.
Yeah, and I will say that Buddy Hield feels like having Klay Thompson again. Ime Udoka made that comparison before the game, and I think he's spot on. So even if they don't have Klay in name, it feels like when you see Buddy Hield go out there and drop in 6 or 7 threes, whatever it was, and I think the Warriors started 9 of 11 from 3. I really think the Rockets aren't that concerned about the defensive end. I'm sure Ime Udoka in the film room will point out that, yeah, they had lapses in rotation. Their effort could be better. But look, you shouldn't shoot 9 of 11 on threes at shoot-around, and they did it to start that game. So in terms of how they fell down by 30-plus points, I think the defense, you just sort of have to tip your cap to the Warriors and bide your time until they eventually miss some shots, which they did in the second half. Better energy from Tari Eason and Ben Thompson certainly contributed to that. I think the bigger story is offensively, guys like Alperen Sengun, Fred VanVleet have not gotten going yet this season. That's where I think the Rockets really got off to a bad start on Saturday, down 71-43 at the half, and that's what they got to try and fix as they get ready for a good Knicks team tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking at this thing, gentlemen. 7 points from Dylan Brooks and 7 points from Jalen Green. Two starters on Saturday night. You mentioned the legs probably not being there to finish that thing. So here the Rockets are 3-3 on the season, 1-2 at home. They're obviously in the Toyota Center, and here comes the Knicks. I'm just noticing, wow, I didn't realize Buddy Hield's 27 was off the bench. I didn't realize that in real time. Crazy. And then Tari off the bench, 27 for him. All right, Knicks in town tonight. I mentioned, who headlines for them. What can you say? What's going on with this funky time, this start time, 7:45? What is that?
Yeah, so the NBA has all 30 of its teams playing tonight because they're all off tomorrow for Election Day. Oh. And since everybody's in action, it's sort of experimenting. We know the NBA likes to try new things. This year is the second year of the Cup. These are not Cup games, but along the same lines of, I guess, experimentation. What they're doing is starting every game from 6 until 9 or 6 to 9:30, exactly 15 minutes apart. So, like, one game starts at 6, another at 6:15, another at 6:30.
Oh,
and the idea being that, yeah, with every team in action, then teams can, that fans can sort of flip around an NBA League Pass and see all these games if they get to a finish at different times. So they're just sort of trying to see what happens if they stagger.
It's like
That's
March
what they're
Madness.
thinking. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah,
that's the idea. Who knows if it will work, but I see why Adam Silver is, views it as a worthwhile attempt. Look, the one thing I'll say about the Knicks, this is the opportunity for the Rockets to really get Alperen Sengun going. They don't have Mitchell Robinson. They start Cole Anthony Towns, who can put up points, but no one looks at Cat as a dynamic defender. And so this is the ideal spot, in my opinion, to get him going. He's shooting below 40% from the year. That's not good enough. We've seen late in close games, including Saturday against the Warriors, the Rockets aren't playing Alperen Sengun in winning time. He did not play a single minute in the fourth quarter or overtime on Saturday. And I think the reason for that is Ime Udoka, he sees these Jabari at the 5, Tari at the 4 lineups, Jabari Smith providing defense, better floor spacing, more versatility. There are advantages on the defensive side of the court. It's just when Alperen Sengun is right, he provides enough offensively to counteract that. Well, when he's shooting below 40% from the field and he's not giving you what he typically does offensively, then all of a sudden you have to look at the other end of the court and say, look, we're probably better off going for more defense, more athleticism, more floor spacing, which is what they do with those front court lineups of Jabari Smith at the 5 and Tari Eason at the 4. So at some point, you've got to get Alperen Sengun going. I think it's a very delicate sort of balancing act for Ime Udoka in that you want to reward the guys who are playing well, and on Saturday that was clearly Jabari and Tari. However, Sengun is really important to the long-term formula of this team. There's a reason you're paying him almost a max contract. And so you want to play who deserves to play, but you also need to make sure that Sengun's leash isn't so short that he doesn't have an opportunity to get himself going. He needs to get shot attempts to get in rhythm, see the ball go through the rim, because if he starts shooting, close to 55% the way he did last year and dishing out 5-6 assists per game, then all of a sudden he's going to be in those closing lineups. And that's what they need because, Jalen Green started off the year hot, but as you would expect, teams are starting to, defend him with more resources. You're seeing more blitzes. You're seeing more double teams. We saw it even in the win against Dallas. We saw it certainly early in the Warriors game. So the Rockets got to have somebody other than Jalen step up. Your two best offensive players last year were Alperen Sengun and Fred VanVleet. Sengun is shooting below 40%, Fred below 30%. So they've got to get one of those guys going at least. And I think Sengun against Karl Anthony Towns, to me, this is a good spot to really emphasize getting him going for the first time this season.
All right, Ben DuBose, analyst here for us at 790 when it comes to Rockets. I'll get you high on this one. I peek in every so often on exactly what Reed Shepherd is doing. Just over 8 minutes a game and 2.5 points. What's going on with Shepherd out of Kentucky, the rookie, 3rd overall? A lot of us were excited in like less than 30 seconds. Is this the plan, or is he not developing and earning minutes at the rate that we thought he might?
It's just tough to play 10 guys, and I think Ime said going into the year that would be the challenge for him, and so somebody's going to get the short end of the stick depending on who's hot, who's cold. Cam had a couple of good games, Cam Whitmore early in the year. I do think that the longer Fred VanVleet struggles, the more they're going to have to look at Reed Shepherd because of that shooting stability. I don't think 6 games is the point at which you panic and say, Fred's not the guy, he's too old, he's now 30, blah, blah, blah. But if this continues for 2 or 3 more weeks, then I don't see how Reed doesn't get more opportunities with Fred continuing to shoot below 30% from the field should that continue.
All right, that's Ben DuBose, editor of USA Today's The Rockets Wire, also featured on the Logger Line podcast, Talking Rockets here on 790. Follow him at Ben DuBose, DuBose. Thank you for your time and being flexible for us, Ben. Really appreciate it, brother.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Enjoy yourself over at the TC tonight. Again, 7:45 tip. Knicks in town versus the Rockets.